Go on.
I was going to say, I was looking at Ron's early career in comics, and I was like impressed by the resume there, because it looks like some of your earliest stuff was for Now Comics. Like Green Hornet.
Now
like wrote the Green Hornet and Terminator and all this other awesome stuff. I remember that when I was a kid. I was just getting into the comics in the mid '80s, and I remember like Now Comics like having an impression. I think I have some of those old Green Hornets that you probably wrote in my collection, which is amazing. So I wanted to ask you about that. Like, so you had pulp in your life even way back then.
I did. It's really weird, how those things all come back, in different threads or whatever. Doing the Green Hornet was a blast. I worked with artist Jeff Butler on that strip, and I did it for about 2.5 years for Now, and it was a rush. I mean, doing the Green Hornet comic, I like the character. Whenever I get a project that I'm going to be working on a licensed property, all right, something that's come before me, I like to say I do my homework, I do my research, I really study the property, the characters, who's done these things before and whatever, and then jump into it. Well, in writing the Green Hornet, I mean, if you know the concept from the 60s television show with Van Williams and Bruce Lee, and going back to the early radio days where he actually got his start from WXYZ in Detroit, the Green Hornet basically disguised himself as a criminal mastermind so that he could get in with the bad guys. But the DA was in on this with him, and that was the point. So not only is he being, fighting other bad guys, but the public at large also thinks he's a bad guy. He's not your typical hero, right? The Masked Avenger. No, he's supposedly a masked outlaw, and everybody's chasing him. Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, after setting up the concept, because what we did was we did this legacy series where we literally tied him into the radio Green Hornet. Then the generations went down to the TV Hornet until ultimately here we are in the late 80s, early 90s, and our modern day version, which is like the great grandnephew of the original Green Hornet. Okay. We get the origin story done. The first couple issues spell all this out, at which point I realized I'm writing a crime comic. This is exactly what I'm doing, all right? So now the challenge becomes every issue after the origin is for Ron to come up with a crime that the Hornet has to stymie or stop, all right? Which is a twisted thing when you're a writer. I mean, I later remember watching the Nate Fillion TV series, right, Castle, where he used to start off every week going, I have to write murder mysteries. Well, I have to come up with these murders. And it just made me chuckle because I was doing the exact same thing when I was writing the Green Hornet. I was writing these bizarre, twisted criminal acts, all right, that, somebody would try to pull off and get away with, but ultimately be defeated by the Green Hornet. So it was a fun experience.
What if you found a piece of junk that turned out to be one of the most important items in this universe and every universe? Meet Joey Swick, your average teen who's about to have his world turned upside down when he stumbles across a curious device in the local junkyard. A glove packed with mysterious and incredible powers. This isn't just any gauntlet. It belongs to the Dimensioneers, a group of godlike beings who control the fabric of reality. Joey and his best friend Monty are thrust into a wild adventure, facing off against the brutal Commander Skullguard, who'll stop at nothing to reclaim his lost property. Will Joey master the Gauntlet's powers in time and survive? Kid Switch is a story about friendship, discovery, and embracing the unexpected. Perfect for readers young and old who love sci-fi, action, and a good dose of slice of life. Your pledges will help fund the artwork, printing, and production of Kid Switch issues 1 and 2. By backing Kid Switch, you're not just getting an awesome comic. You're joining Joey and Monty on an adventure that spans dimensions. let's make Kid Switch issues 1 and 2 a reality.
Legend tells it that deep in the woods, on the edge of a misty field, lives an old mountain woman who holds the secrets to creating an indie comic book.
Hello there, traveler. I don't mind you interrupting my supper. You ain't the first and you won't be the last. Many men come wanting to know how to make an indie comic. I tell you, it ain't easy. It ain't for the weak of heart. Come on over and I'll show you how to do it. First, you need to add a piece of paper. Then, just a bit of your blood. Now, the most important part. Just a bit of your soul!